to the UIAAA Connection podcast. GoFan and VNN are proud to be the exclusive sponsor of the UIAAA Connection. Now a combined company, GoFan and VNN provide a seamless integration for digital ticketing and athletic websites. Direct your fans to one place for all your athletic events, communications, and tickets to home and away games. Thank you to GoFan and VNN for their exclusive sponsorship of the UIAAA Connection.
Welcome to another edition of the UIAAA Connection. I'm your host, Mark Hutch-Hunter. Today we have as our special guest, Ryan Nielson, the principal at San Juan High School. Welcome to the podcast, Ryan.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Let's have you begin by sharing with our audience around the world where you grew up, where you went to college, your first job, etc.
All right. Again, Ryan Nielson, grew up in San Juan County. As a kid, I grew up in Monticello, Utah. Went there at Monticello High School till I was a junior. Then I moved down to San Juan High School. My parents divorced and my mom got a job here at it was CEU San Juan campus at the time. And so I began probably my biggest sports career at San Juan High School. I feel like I'm from San Juan High. I graduated in 1992. Then I went on to CEU San Juan campus and stayed in Blanding and actually was an assistant basketball coach for Dennis Jones here at San Juan High. Then went on to Southern Utah University, where I got my teaching degree in phys ed with a minor in political science. Was coaching over at Parowan at the time while I was going to Southern Utah University. Had some great mentors, some people I learned a lot from as far as the game with at Parowan. We're young, like Matt Labrum. He's at Union High School now. I think he's done coaching now. We've done our time as far as coaching is concerned, and then graduated from Southern Utah University in 1997 and got my first job at Grand County High School in Moab. That's where I first spent my first 6 years. Then I moved back to Blanding in 2003 and just started my 27th year of education. So it's been a great journey for me. A lot of ups and downs and great opportunities to coach and be an athletic director, vice principal, and now principal in my fourth year.
So allow me a couple of follow-ups. The first is you were at Grand, so I assume was Ron Dolphin there then, or was he still a student when you were there?
No, he was there. He just started there. He was the football coach. So I helped him coach football, and I was the head basketball coach. So him and I go back a long way, and it's been a fun journey with him, and we still connect because we're still in the same region here. And so Ron's always been a good friend of mine for a lot of years.
And was Kendra Tomczyk still there, or had she moved on when you were there?
She had moved on, but I got to know her a little bit through Ron and through Grand County because she's still connected with Grand County. But she's also a great individual that has tons of knowledge. I've spent a lot of time talking with her, and she's been a great mentor as well.
And one more person, was Sarah Thomas there, or did she come after you left?
I think she came after I left.
Okay. All right.
So
perfect. And so let me just throw a shout out to you and SUU, because we had quite a few guests on the show that are graduates of the coaching factory there. So you should be proud of that.
Yeah, definitely am. Dr. Lunt had to take his class. He was a great man that influenced a lot of great people too out there. That coaching tree is phenomenal, and SU was a great experience. And I was lucky to know him and take his classes and gain a lot of knowledge from him.
Allow me to ask you about the youth sports opportunities in Monticello, not the biggest town and certainly smaller than San Juan, or should I say Blanding, which is, again, not a huge town, but probably the biggest town in southeastern Utah. Talk about if there was a lot of travel, or if there was just one team in town. Or
so growing up as a kid, either not a lot of football opportunities. So I played football, basketball, and baseball, because at a small school you get a lot of opportunities, which I love. but the big things were junior jazz and wrestling. Joe Davis built a dynasty as a wrestling coach at Monticello High. And so at first I went to wrestling, and I'm about 6'4", and Coach Davis came over to me and said, "You know what, Ryan, you should probably play basketball." I wasn't a very good wrestler. So I went into junior jazz was the big thing there. We didn't do a lot of travel teams like I see a lot now within our community. But travel is what we do. That's what happens when we live at the end of the earth.
Right.
Down here, it's we grew up playing junior jazz. Basketball was the thing that I fell in love with as a kid. But as a kid, when you're in a small town, it's whatever season was your favorite sport. So, but we didn't have youth football like they have now. But junior jazz was a great opportunity. And then a member of the jazz team always came down to Monticello, and we got to meet and shoot baskets with him. So it was a lot of fun. We met Mark Eaton, Thurl Bailey, some great kids. When you're from the sticks, it was kind of neat that they had come down there and interact with us kids. And so it was a big influence for me and really gained a great love for the game.
Thanks for sharing. Let's have you talk for a moment about some of the mentors you've had in your life. Obviously, maybe your parents or teachers or coaches all through growing up and into your education.
Yeah, great people make me better. I love to surround myself with great people. My parents were amazing. They did divorce, but my dad really taught me the love of the game. He played freshman basketball at BYU back when only freshmen could play freshman basketball. And then he went on to Stowe for a year, and then my parents got married. Got a big family, 5 sisters, 2 brothers. My siblings are amazing people that I've had great connections with. But more than anything, when my parents divorced, my basketball coaches became my influence. When I moved down to Blanding, Dennis Jones, just loved and adored. He kind of took me under his wing, and was fortunate enough to win a state championship my senior year under him in 1992, a long time ago. I was fortunate enough to have great coaches, Art Burtonshaw as football. I played in 3 state championships, only won one of them, 1 football and 2 basketball here at San Juan High. But my coaches were great men that influenced me. And I thought, well, I love these guys. I want to be just like them. I want this opportunity to influence other kids like they influenced me. So when I graduated from high school, I got married young, and Coach Jones said, while you're going to school, why don't you come and help us coach the basketball team? And right then I knew this is what the path that I wanted to do is become a teacher and a coach. And I'm grateful for that. It's been a great 27 or 26 years of, like I said, a lot of great times, some struggles in times, but good people around me has always been important to me. Ron Dolphin, when I was AD, was a great mentor. He very organized, as you know, and so I really went to him a lot. Bob Peterson, a longtime friend as well. What's funny enough is Bob hired me at Grand County in 1997. And then he came to San Juan, and his first year was 2003, my first year, and he hired me here at San Juan. So I just kind of follow Bob wherever he goes. But there's been great people that I'm grateful for that's made me who I am today.
Let's ask a follow-up about Bob. I haven't seen him for a few years, obviously, probably 4 years since you became the principal. Is he still living in Blanding? Is he just hanging out there, enjoying the retired life?
Oh, I've never seen a guy more excited about retirement than Bob. He's still here in Blanding. We connect. I go to by his house, make sure he's still kicking, but he's traveling, enjoying life. Him and his wife, LaDawn, I think they just got back from a big trip, South Dakota through Yellowstone. So Bob is in Blanding, checks on me in my office. He just gives me a bad time once in a while and just chuckles and has his cup of coffee. And good old big old Bob, he's just full of life and is doing well.
Well, he was at Blanding for so many years. And of course, I met him on the executive committee. And so I'm waiting for the time when you represent your region on the executive committee to bring it kind of full circle.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he's told. He's like, you got to get on that. It's a great experience. You got to be a voice for the southeastern Utah people that kind of don't understand what we go through as far as travel. So he's keep pushing me if they'll ever let me have that opportunity within our region. So
Oh, I laugh about that travel. Of course, I live in metropolitan Salt Lake, and the teams up here cry if they have to go around the point of the mountain to Utah County in their region. And I'm going, wow,
they have no clue.
No, because the closest school to San Juan, well, I guess is going to be Monticello, and then Grand after that, or if you go the other way, Whitehorse or Monument Valley, and
Yep.
Much smaller than your school.
Yeah, we don't really compete with them, even with Monticello that much, especially with football. But, Kanab was our closest region game last year, 4 hours away when you go through Kayenta, Page, Lake Powell. And so there's a lot of travel.
My next question was, certainly if you're going to Kanab, you have to go through Kayenta and up to Page. I can't imagine you'd go up to I-70 and across and down. That would be even longer.
That would be a lot longer. So we definitely go through the Navajo reservation, and it's a beautiful drive, but I could do with my eyes. I could sleep driving. I've done it so many times.
More than I've only made that drive twice, and it's a beautiful drive, but it's a lonely drive. Let me ask you another follow-up since you talked about the Broncos. Talk about the current winning streak of your football team. I know a little bit about that because my son-in-law coaches at Corner Canyon, and he won a few games in a row, but my goodness, they're up to 29, 30, 31 in a row. That's incredible. Talk about that for me.
Yeah, it's been a fun run. We're up to 34 games. Mm-hmm. We have a phenomenal coach, Barkley. He understands the new kid since COVID, and these kids committed. We have 94 kids in a school with 200 boys, with 400 kids, which That's is incredible. A fourth of our. It really is. But he's built a program that kids just want to be a part of, and nobody wants to play us. We only have 3 home games this year. We try to get people to come to Blanding. It's very difficult, but we've been to Layton Christian this year. We've been to Judge Memorial, Juan Diego. So you talk about travel. Our kids go up and back the same day. They don't stay the night. So they roll into town Saturday morning about 3:30, 4 in the morning, or sometimes even later. We've come up when the sun starts coming up. So it's been a fun run. We hope to continue that win streak. Kids stay healthy. This week we have a bye week. And then we'll have a bye for the first round playoffs. We won't have a game for 3 weeks before our quarterfinals here in Blanding. But it's a great community where I live that travel really well. You'll see the stands full on the visitor side wherever we go. It's exciting. But Pete, when you win, there comes hate too. A lot of, like I said, hard to get games and hard to get people to come play us. But we'll just keep on riding that as long as it goes. And it's been a lot of fun. Since I've been principal, I've been a part of 2 state back-to-back football championships and 1 basketball, and so it makes this job fun. These are the moments that really make this rewarding, to see 94 kids on the sideline and representing our school and our community, and the community support that we have is really special.
Well, now you talk about that. That's fascinating. I'll just throw this in as a sideline. I coach for my son-in-law because my grandson's on the freshman team. And for example, we were supposed to have a sophomore game with Harriman this week. Harriman and the end of Salt Lake Valley, and Harriman, I'm assuming, because they don't have the kids, cancels the sophomore game. So our sophomores went up to Morgan to play, and I'm thinking to myself, my goodness, a school as big as Harriman's got to have close to 2,000 kids, and they don't have enough kids for a sophomore team. And here I'm talking to you, and San Juan's got 94 kids on the team. That's incredible.
It's special. Like I said, Coach Barkley Christensen is, unfortunately, I even got him as my vice principal this year, and we had to get board approval for that to happen. But I mean, a fourth of my school is going to be under control because if not, they're going to pay for it at practice. But we've had a lot of games canceled as far as underclassmen this year. typically when we do travel, we'll play a C team or a JV. C team is like a combination between
Sure.
fresh. Yeah. So, well, we don't have enough players. We can't play the game. So it's been very hard to keep our younger classmen happy. But we'll play teams from Farmington, New Mexico, Durango, Cortez. So we'll travel around the Four Corners area to get those games, so we don't have to travel. But those kids but they stay out. Their season's over now, but he still takes 2 buses to semifinal games and finals because he wants them to have a taste of it. And so it's fun to see, and it's the atmosphere. I, as a principal, having a good football team makes the start of the year just a lot better. I promise you. And it's so there's a lot of excitement that coming with the streak, a little more pressure, but we enjoy that pressure, and we'll love to play anybody and have that opportunity to hopefully win a third state championship, something San Juan's never done. We've won some back-to-back. We've had tradition here as far as football, but Barkley's taken it to a whole nother level.
Ryan, what's your biggest failure or disappointment in life, and what did you learn from it?
Failure is a good thing. We have to fail to be better. I thought I was going to be the greatest basketball coach in the planet, and I did it for about 12, 13 years, and I was let go. And so I felt like a failure. But then I had some self-reflection. Like I got winning more important than connecting with kids. More important, the connections that we make with our student athletes is so vital. I mean, championships and win streaks are fun and everything, but connecting and making a difference in life. But then I had an opportunity to coach again at San Juan High, and as far as basketball. And so, I learned a lot from that. I felt like I was a failure, but then Bob let me become the athletic director, which changed the course of my career, I could say, because it led me to where I am now. And so it was a failure that made me self-reflect and be a better individual. And so I think mistakes and failures that we go through make us better. So it was, like I said, I felt like a failure, but I also felt like it was the greatest learning experience of my life as far as my career.
Thanks for sharing that. Let's talk for a minute. You mentioned about Bob hiring you as the AD, and I want your perspective on how the job as athletic administrator has changed since you first got it. And of course, that's I didn't know you before you were the AD, but talk about how just in your career, because it's years ago when you first became the AD, and how it's changed.
It's changed a lot. When I first started, it's just a matter of just making sure officials were there, and we had games and buses. But you had register my athlete, register my coach. These athletic directors, they're at register my athlete was a great thing for coaches, but it became more for an athletic director where they're making disclosures and or whatever documents that need to be signed. It used to be the coach's responsibility, but now it really became the athletic director. I love register my athlete and register my coach. It's really changed what we do, but there's a lot more to it. As a younger athletic director and not knowing the things that we do know, having not observations, but end of year reviews with coaches is so important that I never had to do. And so there's a lot to it, and finding games is difficult, especially where we live. But it's been a better change for those things, but it's also a lot more work, and ADs are under a lot of more pressure than they were when I first started.
You mentioned register my athlete, and the reason I'm smiling is I retired in June of 2013 at Jordan High, and I believe register my athlete came on in July. I remember sitting in my office, 2 full filing cabinets. Top 2 drawers were seniors, the next 2 were juniors, the next 2 were sophomores, the next 2 were freshmen, and a file for each kid. And of course, you'd have to update that file. I'd have stacks of paperwork.
Oh, yeah.
I'd have to go through. And of course, now it's all online, but but it's even more in depth.
Oh, absolutely. Just the whole coaches getting certified. It's a great thing. You got to cover yourself, but it takes a lot to make sure our coaches are registered. And in fact, we weren't great at it. We were fined quite a bit for the first couple of years until we've got to have these deadlines met, and we got to have these coaches certified. It's got to happen.
And I'm laughing about that because, my son-in-law asked me to help with this freshman, so I helped. But of course, I taught the coaches training in Canyons and Jordan District for 25 years. But since I'm retired, even though I have a master's degree in physical education, I had to go back and I had to go jump through all of the hoops to become certified as a coach. So I think that's a good thing. So let's go back now. So you're 6 years at Grand County, and
Yep.
then you went to San Juan. So what did you teach at Grand and then at San Juan?
At Grand, I taught weight training and PE and coached assistant basketball coach, also coached golf. I think I've coached everything but track and wrestling, to be honest. But it's been awesome. And I also taught health and got my driver's ed endorsement. Then I came to San Juan and taught health, driver's ed, and physical education with weight training. And
so if you're driver's ed in San Juan, it's like there's the road south and the road north.
Yeah, luckily the kids grow up driving. That's what they do. So we got a lot of kids that it wasn't too bad, not too many scary experiences, but I actually enjoyed getting in the car with kids because it's something they really wanted, and you just could connect with kids. That's the best part about our job, is connecting with these kids and hopefully influencing and making a change for them in their lives.
Let me ask you a question not on the script, and I'll get to why I asked. Do you know any of the Laws family in Blanding?
Oh yeah.
The reason I ask is my wife's grandmother was a Laws, and of course her great grandmother. So we don't go to Blanding often, but I've been down there for family reunion. So all of those Laws people that you know are actually relatives of my wife.
Well, I won't let them know that. No, I'm just kidding.
Exactly.
No, they're great people. With small towns in Utah, you have those deep rooted families that just came in with the pioneers, and myself being a Nielson, we're generations. My great grandfather came over from Bluff, and kind of, we've been here since Blanding and Monticello's existence. So it's a lot of deep roots down here.
Yeah, I'm thinking, so your great grandfather came from Bluff, not the striving metropolis that Blanding is.
That's exactly right.
So maybe that's why he left. So let me get back to you.
They came up to Monticello, and they was settled there for a while, and they said, well, we'll leave when the wind stops blowing, and and they're still there. The winds never stop blowing.
There you go. I want you to talk for a minute about the importance of becoming certified as an athletic director. I think you were certified, I want to say maybe 2015, maybe 8 years ago when you were the AD. And I want you to speak to our athletic administrators out there about the importance of becoming certified and what a difference it's made for you in your career.
It's a must. My athletic director, Lance Knight, is certified. I wouldn't have an AD that isn't, as a principal. I feel like you get that knowledge that you need to be successful, and it's a way to make connections and connect with other athletic directors to find out what they're doing, what's working, what's not. But that knowledge you get from those classes are very, very important, or you just can't be successful. You got to have that network. That's why the UIAAA is so important, is connecting with people, and because we're all in it together in essence. Yeah, we compete against each other, but we have got to be certified and have connections and networks to be the best athletic director you can be. And don't hesitate, go get it done right then, and work on it. And it's nice to have something behind your last name, right? Ryan Nielson, CAA, really proud of that. It's a good thing to have.
It is. That's a good answer. Let me expand on that. Talk about the importance of mentorship you mentioned it a little bit, particularly with ADs, because I guess the reason for the question is when you have a group of football coaches or basketball coaches, they'll share maybe 10, 20% of what they do because they keep their secrets. But it's different with ADs. And you mentioned how Ron helped you, and I'm sure you helped Lance and many others. But talk about the importance of mentorship in the athletic director world.
You got to have that lifeline. Like Ron really was that guy. I knew I could pick up a phone anytime and dial in and say, what do you do about this? What are your thoughts here? And bounce some things off of him. He's been in it for years, and you need to have that mentor that you know you can go to, and they may not have that answer, but can help you talk through it. We see a lot of different things now. Parents are more engaged than ever, which is good and bad in ways. How to handle parents and coaches and all the different things, like I mentioned before, that are demanding for athletic directors. So if you know that you have that person, or if you've been there, you find somebody new that you can help along to so that, number one, that we're all on the same schedule, especially within regions, that we don't have a mix up with scheduling. And the one thing that, as far people that mentor me, Bob Peters, was always confirm whenever it came to games or competitions. Because one time I had a team show up that as when I was athletic director, that we weren't supposed to play, and that was not a good thing. And Bob and I had a crucial conversation, and I learned from that, and I learned from Ron that, hey, you got to make sure you're letting people know that what's going on at San Juan High or Grand County High School. And Ron sends an email every week to principals within our region, wherever he's competing with, that I took for myself and learned after having that problem of having a team show up. And I've asked my AD, my athletic director and I meet every Monday, first thing in the morning, so that we can go through the week to make sure we have coverage as far as home events and road events. I like to make sure there's an administrator on hand on road trips as well, which is very demanding. But we need that presence as far as administration is concerned, whether it's my vice principal, athletic director, or if I have a teacher going that is that person over that event, because we have to be there. We have to be there to make sure things are okay. And because you know these games get heated. So Lance and I, again, meet every week, and we plan out the week. We make sure that people are where they need to be, and that we have the officials and everything outlined. And it's good to meet him, and I connect every week and because extracurricular activities are a huge part of what we do.
And that's well said. Let me just throw in that I wish, well, I'm not saying that a lot of principals don't, but I know there are some principals, not a great many, that don't have that conversation weekly with their AD, and they just don't have that communication. And I think you can see at those schools where that doesn't happen, the issues that come up. So that's a very good point. Let me ask you about maybe, because I haven't had a whole lot of ADs that have become principals on the show, but maybe what are some of the similarities between being a principal and being an AD that maybe you could share with us?
It's a lot of the same type of things where I do teacher evaluations, right? I've asked, it's the same thing. We need to evaluate our coaches and have those conversation with our coaches as far as ADs, and be there for them, show up for them. One of my biggest things as a principal, I need to show up every day for my teachers and take care of them. And so we got to do the same thing for our coaches, because it's very difficult, to be honest, to find coaches willing to do it, especially where we live. But evaluating and being present in what they're doing, I feel like our athletic directors, principals need to go into practices and get a feel of what's going on, so that you can speak to parents if there are issues. Like, I've been in that practice and I'm not seeing what you're telling me right here. So, and it's I think it's a lot the same kind of thing, but as far as extracurricular, it's same as a principal. A lot of the things that we do, and it takes a lot of time, and you're on the clock 24/7 as an AD, like you are a principal.
Great insight. What's one common myth about being an athletic director that you'd like to debunk?
Common myth. Oh, that's a tough one. That it's just not that you're not just showing up to the game on the sideline with a badge, that there's a lot of underlining factors that go with it, that competition would not happen without the athletic director. They're doing it. They're doing a lot of things that people don't see. It's just not showing up and having that title as AD, but there's a lot of work done outside that people don't see. And so I think that's the biggest myth.
Well said. Ryan, what's the favorite part of your job?
My job is the kids are really my favorite part, but the extracurricular stuff is I really look forward to. And it's probably my athletic background. I love showing up to the games, being there, and again watching our student athletes compete. Funny story is, esports. I'm going to talk about that just for a second. I hated it. There's no way our school is ever going to do that. But we had a club started, and then I walked in that room and I saw kids I thought would never be involved. So in that moment right then, it's like, you know what? This is something that we need, because involvement is the biggest thing that we do. We stress at our high school. Our motto is get involved, be a Bronco and get involved. And so we do a lot of things to make sure kids are involved in something, whether it's a club or extracurricular, because when they're involved, they're going to be better students and have a sense of belonging is an important thing as a principal, beyond just extracurricular, but any club or anything. We do club rushes, and we just want to make sure that our kids are doing something.
Well said. Let me finish with a couple of questions. The first being, you've got 2 suggestions for a brand new athletic director, and they need to follow Ryan's 2 suggestions in order for them to become a success. What would your 2 suggestions be?
Number one, show up for your coaches. I believe that if you're there for them and you're there to support and you're present, that you're showing up there every day, and that you go to them, and not just for the negative, but what do you show up for them by asking what they need. I feel like if they feel like they have that support from their AD, they know that they can communicate with them, because communication is everything. And that we're all on the same page. And obviously things happen throughout years, but showing up for your coaches and know that you can be transparent with them, and that you're there for them to help them be successful as for their coaches. And number 2 is being organized. You got to have it planned out, and there's so much to it as an athletic director. You've got to really be organized in what you're doing and meet those deadlines that need to be met through UIAAA, and register my athlete, register my coach, and sit down and make a yearly plan and make sure that you are well organized.
2 great suggestions. Thanks so much. Ryan, What question should I have asked you that I failed to ask you?
I think that's a tough one, but it's been a great experience. These podcasts are great. I think I'm glad you're doing it. There's no real big question that I have. Your knowledge, is there any suggestions you have for principals? I think a lot of, maybe the UIAAA conference, we talked last year about it as far as principals showing up for it. We need as principals to show up to these events, because extracurricular events is as important as the classroom, because we see now more than ever that kids need that connection. They need to be involved. And so, what can I do to help support principals and really being a part of the UIAAA? I guess that's a good one. And I feel like principals just need to show up and be there to support their ADs and know what's going on in the UIAAA world.
No, and I would agree with that. I think the key to a successful AD is A, having the knowledge, becoming certified, but the support of that principal and the great ADs you see around this state and around the nation have all of those things.
Absolutely.
So thank you for bringing up that point. And on that wraps up this edition of the UIAAA Connection. Once again, our guest today has been Ryan Nielson, Certified Athletic Administrator and current principal at San Juan High School. Thanks so much for being on the podcast, Ryan. Thank you. It's been a joy to talk with you, Hutch. All right. For our listeners, we hope you tune in again next week for another edition of the UIAAA Connection.